in the middle of the day, and so on. So in traditional marketing and in traditional advertising, let's say TV ads, for example, you guys are familiar with TV ads. They're very, very targeted to the time of day, right? Also, to the person who's receiving the ad, right? So there's a lot that can be done with using highly segmented time slots. You've heard of the term prime time, right? Prime time is evening, 9 p.m. and so on. A lot of ads are shown because people are sitting around the living room in their couches and they're watching TV, they're entertained, and they're given certain advertising from their TV channels and programs. So prime time is an example of how most industries do day parting because they're highly targeted on that segment of the day when people are most likely to be relaxing, when they're most likely to be just watching TV, for example, and then they're served those ads. Same thing goes with day of week. There are some activities that you do during the week and some that you do on the weekends. Now, if you're a business, you're more likely to be focused throughout the week, and the weekends would be your off times. Whereas for some other people, it could be the other way around, and so on. So that's the idea of day parting. It's basically the idea that you show your ads to certain people at certain times of the day. And you want to be able to segment your day so that you can block off certain hours and say, hey, my ads only should run between this time and this time. Anytime other than that time is not for me, or it's not targeted correctly. Now, how do you translate this to Amazon? Because obviously, Amazon doesn't allow you to pinpointedly say, okay, run my ad, only in the morning, only in the evening. It's not easy to do that, right? But now you can. There's a whole lot of options you have now which allow you to show your ads to certain people at certain times. The other thing that happens in Amazon's world is that at 12 midnight, your budgets get reset, right? So as soon as your budgets get reset, let's say you have about $100 per day to spend. If your ads are running at 12 midnight, they're going to start showing your ads with higher CPCs in those midnight hours. And by the time you wake up, or by the time it's like 8 a.m. or something, your entire budget has been spent. So you've literally wasted those midnight hours when nobody's really active. Whoever is active at that hour is either maybe some Chinese click farm that's just clicking on your ads. That happens, guys. We know it. It's happening. Or it could be just random people who are just passing their time, just being entertained, clicking around, not really in the mood to buy, etc. So a lot of that stuff happens through the night hours when people aren't really purchasing, but they're just being exposed to ads and they're just browsing and clicking around, right? So you don't want that. If you are focused on ROAS, or return on ad spend, you want to make sure that your ads are not served in those pockets of time when their performance is the worst, right? So that's our goal here, to find out when do our ads do the worst and stop them there, take that money, put it in the rest of the day, and there you have your $100 being spent in the best times when you have the best conversion rate and you have the lowest CPC. So that's generally the idea of day parting, the idea that you can control when your ads show up and you can, manage that whole experience so that you don't waste your money on ads. Now I'm going to give you some examples. So first, I will show you what happens to conversion rate at different hours of the day. Now this is just an example, and it's it's a business to business, it's a B2B brand. So starting at 12 a.m. midnight, that is, the conversion rates are around 10%, and at 4 a.m., the conversion rate starts to go up. Now, there's this nice sweet band between 4 a.m. and 12 or 1 p.m. afternoon when the conversion rates stay pretty high, and then they start to go down again. And this happens throughout the day. How do I know this? Because Amazon gives us this data. You all have this data, and I'll show you where to get this data, okay? So all of us have access to conversion rate. So this is something you want to measure, because in the hours where your conversion rates are really, really poor, you want to try and see what you can do about it so that you don't waste your money in those hours. Okay. Now here is the other view.
So
This is
here's a quick
our, yeah,
question. Is that PDT time?
say that again.
Are we based on PDT time? It's a question here.
Yes, yes. So for US, it will be Pacific daytime, and for other markets, they will choose whatever one you can find out or maybe ask Amazon. But for US markets, it is Pacific time.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Cool. Okay, so then this is the ACOS chart for different hours of the day. So like you can see 12 a.m. to 1 a.m., between 20 to 25, 30%. And then throughout the day, you have really low ACOS, like 15, sub 20 for sure. And then after 2 p.m., it starts to pick up, right? The ACOS starts to get worse and worse and worse. So would you rather spend your money here or here? Right? The answer is obvious. It's just a rhetorical question. Now let's look at day of week conversion rate. So this account, day of week, Saturdays and Sundays, the conversion rate is below the average, meaning it's less than 10%. So it's conversion rate around 7%, 6, 7%. And ACOS, if you look at, Sunday is 40% ACOS, Saturday also 40% ACOS, and throughout the week is close to about 24, 23, 24% ACOS here in the middle. So what if we could just block these hours off, right? And use this money and pump it back into the rest of the week where your conversion rates are great, your ACOS is great. Use that money to generate more sales, right? That's the idea that we're talking about. So not saying that your charts look like the ones I showed. Your charts are probably going to be very different. So how do you measure it? Like, how do you know how you are doing at different hours of the day? The good news is that all of you have access to this information, okay? And I'm going to show you how, right? How can you measure it? So what you want to do is you go into your ad reports and look for sponsored products, campaign. You have to select campaign. The moment you select campaign, this time unit section opens up, and here you can pick hourly. So now when you download it, it gives you the last 14 days of data, and it's a pretty big file because it gives you data for each hour of the day and each day of the week. So it's a very, very long report. So that report needs to be converted into what we like to do, a heat map. A heat map will tell you which pockets of the day have the best performance and which ones have the worst performance. So this is what a heat map looks like, and this comes from the hourly data. So as you can see here in United States Pacific time, you can see between 0 o'clock to about 4 or 5 o'clock, it's kind of sparse. This is telling me how much spend I'm getting in these hours. Now we can do the same map for conversion rate, for ACOS, and whatever you like, because Amazon gives you all that data in your download. You simply have to kind of calculate it and put it in this formula, into this format. Now, for all of those who are watching, we're happy to give you guys this sheet for free. So just go ahead and scan this. It's just a Google sheet that plugs and play with your sponsored product campaign report hourly frequency. That's what you need. So make sure you copy those rows that have data and paste them into this Google sheet. Make a copy of it so that it's yours, and then you will get all your heat maps so that you will know exactly when you're performing the worst. You'll see your ACOS worse in those hours. Now, another problem we have with this kind of data is that sometimes the data is too less. And so when the data is less, you have a problem, because if you're going to make decisions based on very little data, then you could go wrong, right? That's why in statistics, you need a minimum sample size in order to make any kind of predictions. Sample size in the case of statistics generally tends to be 30 samples or 30 data points, right? Whereas here, when we start to slice our day up into smaller and smaller pieces and come down to an hour, it's very hard to get enough data for each of those cells in order to make a decision, which is why we need to collect this data over time so that you have enough. And if you keep doing that, if you keep appending your sponsored product campaign report, hourly data into that sheet, eventually you will have enough data to be able to see it for yourself when you should be blocking or what action you should be taking for those worst hours of the day. Okay, so now that we know what our heat map looks like, okay, now we've got to figure out what to do. What actions are we going to take, right? Here's where we come to the tactics part of it, right? So there's three ways you can achieve day parting, and I'm going to talk about each of them. There's some pros, there's some cons, and I recently did a poll on LinkedIn. I asked people which of these three ways they would rather do, their day parting. So the first way was through bid adjustments. Like people said, in the worst hours, we're going to make our bid go lower, right? That's what most people said. Then some people said budget adjustments, which means that throughout the day, they're adjusting their budgets so that they don't spend too much money in the early morning or in the late night. And then during the day, they want to kind of spend the majority of the budget. And the third option is campaign pausing, which means you're pausing it in those worst hours so that your ads don't even run and so they don't even waste your money at all. Now, there's pros and cons to each, like I said. The problem with bid adjustments, even though this was the most popular choice, and that's why I was saying earlier that this is a controversy because not everybody aligns yet on what's the right approach. But I'll try to explain why I think what I think about these approaches. So with bid adjustments, the biggest problem is that when you change a bid, it affects placement. So everybody knows this, that your keyword is not just serving one placement. It can serve top of search, it can serve rest of search, and it can serve product pages, right? The same exact one single bid can actually split into 3 different bids when it comes to placements. And so when you change your bid, you might think you're doing yourself a service by lowering your bid, let's say in those worst hours. But what happens when you lower a bid? What it does is that it will impact what the distribution of your placement impressions is going to be. So Amazon will say, okay, with this much bid, you can only maybe win rest of search, or you can only maybe win product pages. And so your ads start to show up in a different placement. And then in those placements, your performance might be worse. So you're trying to save money and you end up being in a worse placement. That is messy, right? So that's the reason why changing bids throughout the day, for that reason, I don't like this method, and it just doesn't. I haven't agreed to changing placements. Maybe if Amazon changes the way placements can be controlled in the future, then maybe I'll revise my opinion about this. But for the moment, this is not my preferred choice. Now, with budget adjustments throughout the day, there's a problem that Amazon doesn't follow your budget caps, right? You might think that you've put a cap of $100 a day on a campaign. However, Amazon can actually spend more than that. They're only saying that roughly you'll spend 100, but you actually might spend a lot more. If you go into your campaign settings, in your account settings in Campaign Manager, you will see that they're giving you 2 choices. Either that they're allowed to increase your budget by 100%, or they're allowed to change your budget by 25%. Those are the only 2 options that are showing. You cannot tell Amazon that don't change my budgets, keep the cap as is. So that's the problem. So even though you have to pick one or the other, and I would recommend everybody pick the 25% of increase if that's the only choice we have. But that's something you'll have to check right away to see that it's not happening, regardless of what you do with day parting. Okay, so because it's not exactly followed by Amazon, you might change your budgets, but Amazon might still spend 100% of it, right? So that's the problem there. Now, campaign pausing. What happens with campaign pausing? The worst hours, basically your ads automatically stop in those hours and the money is safe. It's not being used for anything. You're not even getting sales. So some people might think, based on FOMO that, oh, I could have gotten at least 5 sales in the night. Why should I let that go? Well, because that money that you're spending to get 5 sales can actually be repurposed to be used during the day where you can get 10 sales. because that $5 will take you a longer way because your CPCs are lower, because your conversion rate is higher, and your overall performance is better during the day, right? So that's the reason why if you pause it, yes, you will lose sales in the middle of the night, but yes, you will also use that money much more effectively, and you'll be able to overall get a better result, overall better sales. And the best part is that your conversion rate will start to go up. That's fascinating to me. Why? Because in the middle of the night, the conversion rates are all over the place. People aren't really targeted, and they're not really looking for something and buying it right away. They're just dilly-dallying and just, looking around, clicking around, browsing around, surfing. So if you can eliminate low conversion clicks and retain the high conversion clicks, then guess what it does? It improves the overall conversion rate of your products, giving Amazon the right signals and improving your rankings even. So that's a far-fetched outcome of this, but it happens, right? That's just the way it is. So if you remove the low conversion data points from the equation, then all you have left is the high conversion data points, and that's always going to help you. You won't regret it, right? So that's why I think that campaign pausing, even though it comes with loss of sale, it does the job the best, right? And that's what we advocate for, and that's how we have been doing it for our clients. Now, I just want to say, for those of you who don't have access to any software at all, there might be an option available within Amazon to try day parting if you want to do it, partially for 1 or 2 campaigns, just to test it out, just to see what happens. There is this way inside of your campaign settings where you can go to campaign bidding strategy, and in this other bidding strategies section, you can have this scheduled rules thing set here. So you basically have to say add a scheduled rule, and then you say what the start date of the rule is. You can say how frequently you want the rule to be applied. And then this is where you would set your day parting. You can say choose a start and end time. So let's say you start at 4 a.m. and you end at 4 p.m., for example. Let's say that's your hours of day when this rule will be applied. And so what's the rule? The rule is bid adjustment by 20%. So you can basically increase your bid of your base bid. So let's say your base bid on your keywords is $1. This would make it $1.20 during the day. But this is only a one-way modifier. You cannot say lower my bid in the worst hours. You can only say increase my bid in the best hours. So in order to use this method, which of course I don't recommend it because of the fact that, like I said earlier, if you change the bids on a keyword, then you're essentially messing with placements also, right? For that reason, I don't recommend it. But if you just want to test it out, maybe there's no harm in just doing a few tests. What you will have to do though is you will have to lower the base bid of all of your keywords in that campaign so that you can apply this midday whatever percentage increase so that it all equals out to the best CPC for that product, right? So if you want to try it, go ahead and give it a try. Okay, so let me show you some results from the campaign pausing method. So here's the before and here's the after. This is going to be my last slide. I'm going pretty fast, but this is the before and this is the after day parting, and we ran this for 5 months, right? This started way back in November, I think. Yep. So as you can see here, this was the before. The Sundays and Saturdays were touching 40% ACoS. After day parting, the Sundays and Saturdays were, close to 16, 18%, which is a huge improvement. It's like 40 minus, it's a huge improvement, right? And then look at what happened during the week. During the week, the average line that's coming up here is showing me also kind of 17%, right? Whereas earlier it was above 20. So it was like 22, 23%. So not only did I improve my weekends by a substantial amount, I also improved my weekday performance by a substantial amount, right? At least 4 percentage points, which, in today's day, I would take even 1% improvement, honestly, because it's so competitive. If Amazon is taking a cut of our margins through like all kinds of low inventory fee and placement fee and high long-term storage fees, etc. We want to save every percentage that we can, right? And so day parting is one way of achieving that. And I would say, go ahead and try it in small measure. So what I mean by small measures, two things. One, you can try it for just a few campaigns, just a handful of campaigns. The second thing you can try is for just a few hours. You don't have to block off too many hours. Like if you're afraid that you'll lose a lot of sales, then just identify the worst hours, maybe 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Let's say just 2 hours. You want to just block that off and see what happens. See what happens in those 2 hours. Now you could do this manually with the help of a VA or whatever, or you could use one of the methods I just shared earlier. But in any case, this is the result of what we've been testing, and so far, I just want to say that so far we haven't had any kind of negative repercussions. In fact, it's only been like good news, like this improved, that improved, conversion rate improved, ACoS came down. So just thought I'll mention
This is
that, and then
fascinating. This is
yeah,
fascinating. There is
yeah,
Rito, I have a question. So there are
yeah.
some categories and products that people are buying during the night, right? And there are some products that people buy during the day. And I understand when you are saying like at night, people are usually like messing around, they're searching through the products, they're sometimes put them on the cart, they're not always purchasing them. That's why we probably should turn off the PPC campaign. So what are your thoughts for the products that people are actually purchasing during the night versus the day? So should we just mirror the strategy the opposite way?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing is that your report that I shared earlier, and someone has mentioned that they weren't able to open it. So I'll just share that report as well.
Okay.
The thing is, the report will tell you what time of day is,
Yeah.
the worst and whichever is the best. And you can also filter out based on campaign. So that will tell you, most hopefully your SKUs and your campaigns are aligned, so you can actually do that analysis and turn it off, based on that. So I've shared the link in the chat. You
Yeah.
guys can
Yeah.
click on it and see. So to answer your question, we don't want to rely on less data. We want to detect a pattern, right? And in order to detect a pattern, we need more data, which means you need to run this exercise multiple times, or you need to append your reports to that, to the upload, so that you can have more data to analyze, right? So once you have a pattern, that pattern is post attribution, which means that you're going to drop the last 4 or 5 days. You don't want to get messy data into the mix. You want remove the last couple of days, and then get your 14 days worth of data out of Amazon. And when you see the pattern, it is the beauty of patterns is that you can rely on them because they happen over and over and over again. Same thing with like conversion rate, that's a pattern. ACoS, that's a pattern. It's not like every single sale is exactly that. It's just that it's about averages, right? And those patterns can be detected when you have large amounts of data. So the more data you have, the better your approximation, the better your prediction, and so on. So that's what I would say. Go ahead and start doing the analysis to see if there's anything here. Maybe your products sell equally throughout day and night, in which case do nothing,
Yeah.
but you don't know till the data is in your hands,
That's
so
true.
yeah,
Robert
yeah.
has a question to you. If you will scroll it up. So does that bid adjustment compound with the placement adjustment or override it for the scheduled time?
Wait, I'm just trying to locate Robert. Okay, does that bid adjustment compound with placement adjustment or override it for the scheduled time? So, Robert, that is going to adjust your base bid. If you have any placement modifiers, they will be intact. So it will be compounded in that sense. So yeah, that's why I was saying earlier that you need to lower your current base bid so that once that bid adjustment happens, it's back to the baseline that you originally had, right? So do some
I know.
reverse math on that. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer. I know you said that parting days so far are bringing only great results. However, do you have any instances where parting day is definitely a bad idea? So any situations where you shouldn't do it at all? It's just
Yeah, absolutely. So when your data is jumping around too much, don't do it. Because if you don't have enough data, if one day shows you that, Monday is the better day, and one day shows you that Saturday is the better day, then you don't have enough data yet. Uh, in which case, my advice would be to just accumulate more data till you see a pattern, right? The culmination of many, many data points will tell you the true story. But you can always find 1 or 2 hours that are clearly bad. I think everybody can go ahead and find those hours, and then you can test it out in those hours.
okay. We have another question. If you anonymous, guys, every single time I'm asking you not to be anonymous because you see us and it's disrespectful to be anonymous compared like towards others. So it's the last time I'm answering anonymous. Next time this question will be ignored. So we're not in the Facebook anonymous groups, okay? So if you post campaigns several hours every day, will Amazon lower your campaign's weight?
No, no, we have seen zero evidence of that. It's working. Like we're managing several super large accounts with day parting, and we have zero evidence of Amazon punishing you for pausing campaigns. In fact, pausing and unpausing campaigns is probably one of the most gentle things you can do to any adjustments on Amazon, even gentler than a bid change. A bid change can wreak havoc almost, but campaign pausing and unpausing, it does nothing. It's like pausing a listing and restarting it, similar to that. So I don't see any problem.
Another question from Ross. How do you make the heat map out of the Google Maps? Google
Use
Docs.
ChatGPT. Yeah, use ChatGPT. So basically, this was done. I mean, there's many versions of this floating around, but this version, we input the data and then also kind of had formulas. Essentially, it's a pivot, right? And the pivot is happening on bins. A bin means, when you have large amounts of data and you want to categorize that by different slots. So we just have those bins, and for each bin, there is a corresponding pivot value, which is what this heat map was created with. I also created the same thing using ChatGPT's help. I told ChatGPT to give me I uploaded that file, by the way. I uploaded the sponsored product report, hourly report, and I said, I want to make a heat map out of this. Can you give me the formulas? I got it in no time. It's easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, Rita will be speaking in New York, Brooklyn on July 31st. You probably will be speaking at a lot of other places too, but New York, Brooklyn is something that's very accessible to everybody. And at this event, it will be like pretty cheap. So you guys more than welcome to appear. And Rita will be doing also the workshop, and she will teach you how to build the small apps with ChatGPT, right?
Yes, correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. So you can really be in touch with her on spot and build something that will help you to automate your PPC campaigns. Can we automate, Vlad is asking, can we automate the posing and unposing campaign, or it's manual
Yeah.
process only? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to do it manual, you'll need someone to stay up all day, all night. But yes, so our software does pause and unpause. So I mean, there's different options out there, so you can pick from the one that makes most sense to you.
And I believe on Amazon, when you have the scheduling for like day and night, you can also automate it based on the hours you want the campaign to work, right?
No, they don't. They
No?
just change the bids, unfortunately. Yeah, the only thing they do is automate bid changes, whereas what we're talking about is pausing and unpausing. So the bid changes method has its pitfalls, whereas the pausing and pausing has no pitfalls whatsoever in our testing. So I mean, you will need software. Otherwise, you can just test it for a couple of days. If you have maybe two VAs who can share the load and do it, that would be a good enough test for, let's say, a week to see if it moved the needle for you, and then you can switch to a software like ours.
Oh, awesome. So I hope Amazon will never automate it, means PPC Ninja will be always there. for this specific feature.
For this reason. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, Amazon, the beauty of Amazon, that Amazon provides opportunities for the software to make your life easier, because Amazon has a platform, but now Amazon doesn't have the software. I would not say software. Amazon doesn't have user-friendly interfaces and usability for people like you guys and us. I mean, for everybody, unfortunately, yet. Anastasia is asking, where can we see the detailed info about New York Summit? It's, guys, on asgtgevents.com. We and Rita and I are speaking there together, so we're putting this event that's related AI. I recommend you, if you are joining right now, it's also Bella 20, or I believe Ritu 20. We both have this code. It's early birds prices for now, but it will be more expensive, and at the end of the sales, it will be probably like $300-400 per ticket, as usually they do. And if you would not like the event, the beauty of this event, it's a lot of food. Like it's a Jewish community, and they feed people all day, so you will have so much access to different delicious food there. Martha is asking, could you provide insights into methodologies or tools for recognizing patterns in data? Oh, that's a great question. Additionally, what
Yes.
considerations should be taken into account to ensure accurate pattern identification across various types of data? Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing two questions, Sarito. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. Yeah, so first of all, a pattern. How do you recognize a pattern? So the meaning of a pattern is that you have a lot of data points, and then you're averaging those data points over the number of times you've seen that data. So for example, out of 10 weeks in in the quarter, you've noticed that the 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. slot had a conversion rate of 1%, for example. So 10 in the quarter, like 10 out of what is it? Four threes are 12. So basically, a large portion of your total is showing a conversion rate less than uh, you know less than desirable, like just 1% conversion rate. That's good enough. Now let's say you have only one data point in the whole quarter, right? uh, and that data shows its conversion rate is 1%. Would you trust that, or would you trust the one that is significant amount of data? Obviously you will trust the one that has more data. So that's the reason why I was saying data sufficiency. If you have significant amounts of data that show that the data points are lining up and the averages are telling you a story, that's how you detect patterns, right? It's always going to be averages, but it's always going to be over some number of data points. So the more number of data points you have, the better it is. So that's basically what I would say about the method or methodologies. It's just more data. That's it. And then second part of your question is, what consideration should be taken into account to ensure accurate pattern identification across different types of data? So different types of data, you'll have to say a little bit more about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure when you mean different types of data. You obviously want to align on the type of data. You don't want to mix and match different types of data. You want to do it for one type of data. Like let's say if you're just looking at conversion rates, that's one type of data. Another type of data is ACoS, just ACoS. So I guess maybe that's what your question is, right? So if let's say one focus point is conversion rate, the other focus point is ACoS, right? So your conversion rate could be correlated tightly with your ACoS, but it doesn't have to be. So that's the human insight into kind of looking at those two different pieces of data and say, according to the conversion rate metric, these are my worst hours. Now let's see on the ACoS side, are these still my worst hours, or is there some other story that's being told here, right? And when you can see alignment, you just pick those, you know, you just pick those data points that are aligned across those two data points. That way you're eliminating what's not clear and you're consolidating what is clear, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Especially when you work with data on a daily basis, it does. So far we don't have any more questions. It's a lot of insights and it's a lot of things we covered just now. And summarize everything. Data is everything. You never should be based on your personal opinion. If by any chance you're going to sleep and you're looking at your Amazon account, you're like, okay, I had sales during the night, I probably should not turn off my PPC campaigns. But keep in mind, sometimes when your purchases are happening at night, they've been put in a cart 2 days ago or 3 days ago or something like that. So never be based on your personal opinion and how you feel your products are being purchased or how you feel the products are being ranked on a page 1 or page 2 or page 3. By the way, Amazon is changing, and it's been happening for a while, changing completely the indexing and ranking and how you guys are seeing page 1 and how Ritu is seeing page 1 and how I'm seeing page 1. It's all different page 1s because we are mostly based on the interest, based on state, based on the fulfillment center that is closer to us. So it's a lot of layers right now. Don't really pay attention where you're at on the page for you. Use software for that and be really data driven for this type of things. And Solomon is asking the question, okay, which one is best? Sponsored products or sponsored brands or sponsored display or sponsored TV?
Okay, well, there's no best. You have to start with sponsored products. If you're new, you will be starting on sponsored products because it'll give you the most exposure quickly. Sponsored brands and sponsored display are good for kind of supplementing your sponsored products. Generally, most people will have 70 to 80% of their sales coming from sponsored products, and the rest will be distributed between sponsored brand and sponsored display. Sponsored TV is mostly an upper funnel tactic. It's not for everyone. So you don't have to waste your money on sponsored TV unless you're a big brand or you really want to spend awareness money, which on Amazon probably doesn't make sense for a majority. I would say 99% of brands don't really need to spend extra money outside of Amazon to build brand awareness because people will always be driven by search. Search will be your main lever for getting in front of your audiences very quickly because people are busy, they don't have the time to kind of absorb so many brands on Amazon and remember them and then search for them. So every brand cannot be a Coke or a Pepsi, right? What is considered a healthy ACOS? We need another masterclass for this. That's a big question.
I will,
Yeah.
if you want, I can quickly cover it as the
Go ahead.
non-expert on PPC. So
Go ahead. Yeah.
don't look at your ACOS and correct me if I'm wrong. Look at your tacos. Your ACOS can be 250,000%, but your tacos can be 10. So sometimes you're going after some humongous keywords or huge opportunities, and one sale will cost you a lot of money, but overall your tacos will be so low that you will be very happy to invest into your ACOS because it will bring you very low tacos. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so the way PPC works is that it is the input to the algorithm that will then rank you. So if you're spending on PPC on important keywords and putting money behind them, then you're essentially training Amazon to know that this keyword can match to this product really well, right? So if you show that to Amazon over and over again through a pattern, then Amazon knows that this keyword is the right one for your product, and then they will automatically, without your dollars, they will show your ads, or sorry, they will show your listing in the search results page when people type that keyword without you even spending the money. That's the beauty of spending on PPC and winning on organic. And that's the tacos ratio, right? Spend divided by total sales is tacos, whereas spend divided by PPC sales is ACOS. So you want to pick tacos as your ultimate measurement of whether PPC is working or not.
Thank you. Guys, I posted in the chat LinkedIn where you can follow Ritu, where she's posting all her updates. That will be the easiest way to contact you, right?
Yes, that'll
To
be the
have a
best.
direct connections. Yeah, to
Yeah.
have a direct
Mhm.
connect. And oh, I see 23 hours ago, your last post is about our Tactical Tuesday today. If you, yeah, if you like the session, please let us know in the chat. And based on the polls, you guys loved it. However, we want to hear a lot of applauses because Rita was doing great. She's doing great all the time. She's taken all first and or maximum second places with AI tactics and PPC tips and tricks. Nobody is better than her on the market right now. And what I love about Rita a lot, she is very giving person. So she's giving more than she's asking back. And the last question we have from Owen, how can I calculate tacos based on the particular keywords?
So keywords won't have tacos. Your products will have tacos. Your keywords cannot be traced back to the overall sales coming from that keyword. There is no mechanism right now, but at the SKU level, you can say how much you spent, and then you can also see how much you sold at the SKU level, and that's how you can determine your tacos. But if you don't have SKU level separation, then you can also just do tacos at the account level, which would be your total spend on advertising divided by your total sales on total sales, right, in your business report. Yeah.
Salman is asking you one more question. Where can he see tacos?
So on Amazon platform, there's no place to see tacos. You will have to calculate it. It's a calculated field.
You can see it in the software. There are plenty of them. PPC
Plenty.
Ninja. PPC Ninja is one of them. Rita, do you have any entry plan on PPC Ninja, or it's only for advanced people?
We started 199 for 50 ASINs. So that's our starting point. Yeah,
So
$199 per month.
generally speaking, if you want to have user-friendly access and be able to manage your campaign using software that been built from the experience for sellers by sellers, PPC Ninja will help you out a lot. So as you know, Tactical Tuesdays are not promotion-based, it's value only. But because we have this question, this is what we can recommend. And I believe it's ppcninja.com, right? Or AI.io.
Yeah, .com. ppcninja.com.
ppcninja.com. Yeah, I have it pulled up. Yeah, I will drop it here, guys, to the chat. And again, you can always request demo. They will go with you on a call. They will explain you how it works, and then you will already make a decision if it makes sense for you. Because generally speaking, if you are in a position, do I want to delegate somebody because I don't want to learn and I want to get my time back, like me? Ritu is great person and place where you have to go, and they will do everything for you, and it doesn't cost much, trust me. If you're like, no, I am not ready to invest that much and I want to do it myself, please do. A PPC Ninja, they have like 199, as Ritu said, plan, and it's very user friendly. I don't use it because I don't have time, but their team is managing based on their software for us, and I really, really highly recommend them. Okay,
Thank you
if we
so
don't have
much.
any questions, yeah, Ritu, thank you so much for being here today. You're awesome as always. I'll see you in
Thank you.
Kauai. I'll see you in Kauai, right?
Kauai, yay! Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
in 10 days. Oh my gosh, I have
10
goosebumps.
days. Oh my gosh.
10
Oh my
days,
gosh.
yeah. 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will be amazing event. If you guys didn't join yet and you have opportunity, financial opportunity to go there, Kevin King is hosting BDSS in Hawaii, Kauai. It will be amazing with helicopters, car racing, fountains, waterfalls. So it's so much fun. Anyway, it's so much fun for a lot of people that are already at 7-8 figure sales. And if you're not, it's always great to learn from the best. Yeah. It sounds divine. Yes, it is. Okay, guys. I'll see you next Tactical Tuesday. And Rito, I'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye.